Wham! Talk 1600. You're catching the drift. Conservative talk. Intelligent conversations on local, state, and national issues with Gary Wellings, chief editor of the Current newspaper and Current Online. Join in the conversation at 734-822-1600. And now, your host, Gary Wellings.
And good Saturday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to catch my drift here at Wham Talk 1600. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today and get to it. And if you have not tuned into the drift before, what we do is talk about the news we put up on thedailydrift.com. And if you're not going there, you should be, www.thedailydrift.com. It's the news you need to know and share and retweet and whatever else you have to do this election season to get people educated before they walk into that election booth in November. So make sure you take care of that and inform yourself. Get active. This is what we do. It's why I'm here every Saturday, and it's why I do the Daily Drift on a daily basis for you. So make sure you're doing that. Let's take care of a little business. Our sponsor this half hour, Rock Shop on Godfredson Road, 734-455-5560. If you're looking to take care of any of your outdoor garden or patio work this summer, now is the time to do it. Get over to the Rock Shop on Godfredson Road and check out all the paving stones, wall stones, you name it, boulders, gardenscape stuff. They've got it there. Marco and Elena do a great job, and they'll teach you to install everything that they sell for free. They've got a great crew of guys there who will help you out with whatever you need, 734-455-5560, or you can check out their website, www.rock-shoppe.com. Okay, so make sure you're doing that, and you can catch this show Saturdays and Sunday evenings at Conservative Radio Network. It gets rebroadcast on a podcast, and Conservative Radio Network will be merging, shall we say, with Red Nation Rising on July 4th at midnight. So look forward to that, rednationrising.us or conservativeradionetwork.com. Catch these shows and a lot of other great shows as well. So check them out. They're all podcasts. You can watch it at your leisure when we're not here live, of course. But let's get right into it. We've got a guest coming in today. They're not on the horn yet, but I'm going to take care of a little business here, talking Clinton. Now, we've got a lot of people out trying to bash our nominees and whatnot, but the one thing that I am going to try to do between now and November is take care of Hillary Clinton in the way that I can do best, and that is by bringing you the news that you're not going to get from the mainstream media. And one thing that's getting very little coverage, you might see it on Fox, but you're not going to see it in a lot of other places. And this is a premium example of what's going on in our country. There claims that Google is altering search parameters to help out Hillary Clinton. And Derek, do we have track one ready? Let's go with that.
Google on Friday denied the allegation that it censors search suggestions specifically to favor Hillary Clinton. Instead, the company said its algorithm filters out content universally to weed out, quote, offensive or disparaging suggestions. A company spokesman said in a statement to the Washington Examiner, quote, Google autocomplete does not favor any candidate or cause. Our autocomplete algorithm will not show a predicted query that is offensive or disparaging when displayed in conjunction with a person's name.
All right. Now, for most people, that gobbledygook means a whole lot of nothing. But it's no different than what we've been hearing, the claims on Facebook with Mark Zuckerberg and his algorithms, and the guy that owns Twitter, who I always forget his name. I do more Twitter than I do Facebook nowadays. But if you don't think these people are trying to manipulate us a little bit, they are. Check your own tweets and whatnot and see what's trending and what's not trending. You can go through your analytics and see whether things are being jaded in some fashion or another. And it's the same with Facebook. So check them out. Be aware that that is happening and hold them accountable. You can always send a nasty little Facebook post or something to Mark Zuckerberg and say, hey, man, I don't like the way you're doing this, that, or something else with my post. Because even on Twitter, you're seeing some banning. People get banned for sometimes just the craziest things. And they're not very helpful when it comes to reinstating your account if someone says, oh, he said something nasty about this, that, or something else. So be aware that that is happening, and it's happening on a regular basis. So just one more part to the Hillary Clinton campaign being helped out by the powers that be. All right, so I was going to talk about our guest who just calling in, and if in this show we seem like we're always bad-mouthing this or complaining about that, and when I got into this 5 years ago, I was hoping that we could do something positive. So when I come across something positive, somebody with a solution, I'm going to try and bring that forward. And our guest today is Joey Eddins from Pennsylvania. Joey, welcome to the show.
Hi, Gary. How are you?
Good. How are you? Now, Joey, we've exchanged a few emails and texts and whatnot, and you have what I think is one of the greatest ideas. And well, tell me a little bit about yourself first so people can understand how you have the experience to be dealing with our veterans and their medical care.
Sure. Well, I'm a EMT here in the state of Pennsylvania. I've been doing this job for about 15, 20 years. I'm an EMT instructor for a local community college, and I'm also a CPR instructor for the American Heart Association.
Okay, and you've got family that are veterans, and you have as it says here, you have a son who's serving in the Navy right now?
I do. He leaves on the 19th, and a daughter who is split ops right now with the National Guard, who will be doing ROTC with a local college.
Okay, and you've got an Uncle Joe, right?
I do have my Uncle Joe, Vietnam War veteran.
Yeah, so, and those guys, a lot of them always have special needs because we all know, I had a neighbor next door to me, a great guy, Mr. Gervasi, years and years ago. He ended up dying of Agent Orange. He was a Vietnam vet. Chuck was just a great guy. And so a lot of our Vietnam veterans suffer from something related to Agent Orange and those kind of things, right?
Absolutely, and my uncle was no exception to that.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about community paramedicine, as you call it, and the G.I. Joey bill, as you were joking about. How do well, let's go back. Let's take a step back and say, we all know that what is the wait time for an average VA guy going to the VA trying to get some help and get an appointment?
Right now, the average wait time across the United States is 30 days or longer.
Which is an outrage.
Absolutely. I mean, imagine calling your family doctor because you have the flu and want to be seen and you have to wait a month.
Yeah, you'll either cure it yourself or die in 30 days with the flu, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so how can we cut that? You have some great ideas. Tell us how you think we can cut that wait period down.
Sure. Well, I borrowed from the community paramedicine program, which is actually already passed in many states, and made some amendments to fit it into the Veterans Administration. Basically, what community paramedicine does is anything from preventative to post-operative care. It's documented that, it improves patient outcomes, lowers costs for both patients and healthcare providers in the hospitals. The savings are in the millions of dollars. And
okay,
go ahead. My plan would use volunteer EMTs to go into veterans' homes and offer the care at the same cost they're already paying now, so we could take their wait times from 30 days down to a week or less.
Oh, that's awesome. And that is huge. Now, let me ask you the key question then. Do we have enough volunteer EMTs across the country? There are some regions that do better, some that do worse, some communities that have more, some that have less.
It's interesting you ask that question. I can speak mainly for the state of Pennsylvania right now, although I've been doing research in many states, including Michigan, which has a phenomenal paramedicine program in place that deals with cardiac and lung issues and has had magnificent results. We actually do, and many of our EMS providers are former veterans themselves, so right. They truly understand the need. I've also, I started G.I. Joey Bill at USA.com, an email address to have veterans and EMS providers write into me and tell me what this program would do to help them or why they'd want to volunteer. And it turns out there's a lot of nurses that want to volunteer as well. Oh, that's awesome. So give me that website again so we can get it out a couple times during the show. Sure. It's G.I. Joey Bill at USA.com. At USA.com. Okay. So if you're a veteran and this program would have helped you in some way, or a family member of a veteran who this program would have helped, you're an EMS provider, a nurse, even doctors that would want to volunteer, I'd love to hear from everybody as I meet my state representatives and hopefully get my foot in the door on a federal level. I'd like to print all the letters out and take them with me.
Okay, and we're going to tie you up with, I've got a pretty close relationship with our own 7th District Congressman Tim Walberg, and I've got some contact info for Mike Bishop and some other people, so we'll try and get that hooked up for you. But when you said, here in Michigan, right here in Ann Arbor, and you sent me the link to this, it was we have a community paramedicine program which is expanding here in Michigan. And when you talk about the savings, it says here that MedStar CEO Colby Miller, who's part of an ambulance-type program, said he expects to enroll 75% of heart failure patients within the next year with a savings of $3.1 million in readmission costs. So explain to me a little bit about what an EMT would do as opposed to somebody going in, they get out of the hospital for a heart condition, and instead of going back or being readmitted because they didn't take care of themselves or didn't get the appropriate follow-up, what is it that the EMTs, like yourself or others, would do?
Sure. Just like a regular clinic visit, we're going to check your blood pressure. We can weigh you. We'll check your glucose, make sure your blood sugars. Anything that you would have done in a normal clinical setting, we do on our emergency calls now. Weight, just checking somebody's weight would be like a little bit of an addition, but it's certainly not something we can't do. Our protocols, if the program would go down the way I'd like, would expand a little bit. We'd actually operate under the medical command of the VA versus the state departments of health. So we could do things like flu shots, tetanus shots, all types of preventative care. We're able to spot issues quicker. I'll give you a great example of where this would have worked and why my idea for this program is so important. I believe we've all heard about, they called him the Candyland VA doctor. Mm-hmm. Why I believe most of the problem is an overwhelmed system. We have such a large number of vets, and our VA is switching more to outpatient clinics now than actual hospitals and inpatient care. There are instances where oversight is lacking. With my program, anybody in EMS would have seen somebody on, a bunch of different prescription pain pills and the dosage amounts and would have been immediately concerned. Would have called an oversight committee, which I address in my program idea, and I truly believe that veteran would be alive today.
Yeah,
it would have been addressed.
So instead of him getting just more and more prescriptions, if he had a relationship with the local EMTs who come on a regular basis, they develop that relationship, you guys would have seen, wait a minute, man, there's an issue here. You're addicted. I guess that's what we would call it, right? Because it's easy enough to get addicted to painkillers. I mean, we see it all the time. Like Prince just died of painkiller overdose. People sometimes move from prescription drugs to heroin or whatever else. If you have that, and I guess this is what, when the Democrats want to go ahead and say we want to do preventative care and we want to take care of people, this is actually a solution that works and doesn't cost billions and billions of dollars. This is a solution that's handled.
The startup costs for this program are so minimal, and the savings from the federal level down to the state to especially our veterans, and there's even perks in it to get our EMS providers to want to do the program that are beneficial to the state and would be beneficial to the program itself. Perks like free schooling for EMS to increase their skill level in healthcare. So like a medic might take nursing school, or an EMTB, which is a basic EMT, would, go to medic school and it would cost them nothing.
Yeah, and I was by chance talking to an EMT just a week or so ago, and he was talking about getting out of being an EMT because he wanted to become a registered nurse. And
Correct.
For him, this would be a program that he wouldn't have to pay all that money, right? If he was doing his time doing some community paramedicine, he would be able to score some free college, right?
And I mean, that's an issue that, this program addresses on the EMS side of it, although the focus is on the veterans. EMTs, I don't want to put anybody down, but the people out, with fast food marching for their $15 an hour or whatever, they're generally paid better than EMTs already, mm-hmm. Or close to it. So for somebody to go to school and pay $10,000-$15,000 to maybe make $16 an hour isn't always feasible, and it becomes very difficult to feed your family on the salary you make, especially when it relates to the job we do.
Right.
So this is a solution to that, and it keeps a higher skill level of medical professionals within the state and working within the VA.
Okay. Now talk to me a little bit, because maybe we'll get some people more active here and they'll get to their website and get hold of you. But you've been dealing with